I wanted to give you a quick update about what's going on with the 3MS build. There are some things that went really well, and there are some things that I'm reconsidering that are going to take another minute or two to get finished. This was a really easy build. Christopher did a great job on the documentation. Everything went together smoothly. I pointed out a couple things that I thought the documentation should call out about some things like making sure you lubricate the extruders and using some thread lock for grub screws, which Christopher immediately updated the manual. So it's great to work with somebody who's so on the ball and just taking care of everything. It's a very compact system. So you've got the 4 extruders on top. On the back, you can see the tabs where you could mount this to an extrusion. The MCU mount is held in place with a couple of screws that go into those M3 nuts that you can see there. On this side, you can see the SKR board there. I've just coiled up all of the extruder motor wiring for right now. I don't know if I'm going to leave this assembled this way, where you can basically just set it on something or maybe separate out the electronics and the extruders. The other part that I built was the 4-into-1 combiner that will take the outputs of those 4 extruders and then merge them into here. Where I decided to make some changes is I thought my Micron had extruder mounted filament switches, and it doesn't. I did not put those in that extruder. I actually put them in my V2.4. So I'm going to move this project over to the 2.4. I'm going to have to load the Happy Hair firmware on that printer. I had already loaded it on the Micron. It's not that difficult, so it's not a big deal. And as I was thinking about this, I decided I really do want to use a filament cutter. It takes out a lot of the work of trying to do tip forming, which you have to do to get a clean extraction when you're unloading a filament. It's much better to have, if possible, a tool head mounted cutter. That way you're leaving the filament that's already in your hot end in your hot end. And to do that, I'm going to use this, which is the Magneto filament cutter by Big Tree Tech. It is called that because there are 2 very small magnets inside here, which is how it's getting its snapback motion there. There isn't a spring in there. It's just a magnet that's holding this sliding piece in place. This is designed for the VZBot printer, but someone, and I will give a link to their printables page, came up with this adapter that will take this Magneto cutter and adapt it over to the wristwatch extruder, which is what I'm using in my V2.4. So this piece will just press fit into here. You do have to file away this corner to make clearance for the mounting screw that goes through that hole. But once this is in place, this will just sandwich in between the extruder and the tool head. And then what I'll have to do is either find or design a stop that will go on the gantry. The idea being that you'll move the tool head all the way over to the side, move it to the back, and there will be a flange that will depress that. That's going to cut the filament off right here. Then you can cleanly retract everything that's just above the hot end so that you don't have to worry about pulling any stringing filament or anything else back through your PTFE system, which could clog things up. I've got to mount this to the tool head, then install the firmware and start doing my measurements and calibrations. So hopefully next time I can show you working through some of that and then see about getting this calibrated to do some multicolor prints. So thanks for hanging in with this build series. Again, thanks to Christopher for all the work that he's put into the 3MS. He's doing a great job maintaining the project. If you want to pick one of these up, you can get them at West 3D. And part of those sales go back to Christopher to support his work. I hope you're enjoying this video series, and I will be back soon with the next installment.